Welcome into the Real Kyper and Bourne Show. We are live on Sportsnet, Sportsnet 590 The Fan, Sportsnet 960 in Calgary, 650 in Vancouver, and Sportsnet Plus. As always, this hour of Real Kyper and Bourne brought to you by Bet365, Nick Kypreos, Justin Bourne, Sammy McKee, Jake the Snake Schultz, and Derek Brandeo for once again the fastest hour in hockey without any more games to play, as the season concluded last night with the Florida Panthers crowned Stanley Cup champions for the second consecutive season.
Well played.
Yay.
Well played. That's a hockey team right there.
Yay.
Kip, I was talking with Daryl Sutter this summer, and he was telling me that.
Oh, can I pick up that name you just dropped?
Yeah. Well, listen, I'm going to be a part of his book, Sam. I'll have you know.
Whoa,
we got a book coming
hey
out.
now.
A Daryl book.
Early promo. But
Love it.
talking to him
Have
about
to,
the cup, and he explained to me that once you've won the cup,
Yes.
he still experiences some jealousy. Like, that's my cup. I won that cup. He wants to win it again. Like, he's not done with the cup.
Yeah.
How do you feel seeing the cup handed out?
I feel good. Yeah, I've got no issues.
You're happy to.
I look at my cup like I look at my high school years.
Yeah.
Like just
It's like
right.
Glory Days plays in the background.
Like at,
Glory days.
when you're like have no worries in the world and you're just a kid and
Yeah.
and all of that. I'll tell you what I went through in a similar fashion was watching the Rangers' success after I was long gone. And they went to the finals, of course, right, with King Henry, and came close on a couple occasions.
Alec
and-
Martinez in overtime.
Yes. And it's like, I don't want them to win.
Yeah, you want it to be the last. Race.
Really?
Yes.
Well, it's like
Wow.
the
Yes.
Miami Dolphins,
Right?
right? They're
If they win the
unbeaten
cup, they're going to
season.
forget about our 1994 team.
yeah,
Wow.
And I don't want that.
yeah.
I went through that. And then at about, I don't know, turn of the decade there,
Yeah.
2020, I'm like,
All right.
yeah, that's enough of that. I want them to have success now. And it's now 30 years. I don't want to hold those
It's their turn
emotions
again.
hostage
Yeah.
forever. It's just selfish and greedy. And at the end of the day, there's a lot of people that don't remember 94 now of 30 years later.
Yeah.
So
I'm
that's
evolving.
that's the only thing that I've ever experienced. But watching the cup being presented every year is actually a very good feel for me, because whoever I'm beside at the time, I can turn around and say, I know exactly how that feels.
That's what I was just going to say. Like, we are sitting with a guy in the room that experienced what all those guys experienced last night, where you just, it takes my breath away when they bring it out every time. Like, every time it's like, here it is.
Yeah,
it's like,
it's special.
oh my God, look
Yeah.
at that thing. Like, it is out of this world. And I can only imagine the emotions if my
Yeah.
beloved Maple Leafs ever did it.
So-
But just even when the Panthers, who I hate hoisting it, I'm like, oh, look at them.
So
Good for them.
For every action, there's a reaction, and I will never forget in '94, and it's an iconic picture today for Vancouver Canuck fans. Sorry, Canuck fans, but it is Trevor Linden burying his hands in his face. I believe he's on one knee at the time at Madison Square Garden, and I do recall for a split second in all my hoopla going, "Oh my God, that must just feel awful right now." And today we say the same thing for Connor McDavid.
Excuse my ignorance. How close was Game 7 when you guys won it?
Nathan Lafayette hit the post
Yes.
with about
Yeah,
3 minutes to
remember
go.
That. Now I remember that. Yeah.
And it was the difference of that going in overtime in Game 7.
Yeah. So part of it for you guys is probably relief, not knowing for sure that it was yours, down to the wire. I wonder if it's different when that one felt pretty over. Like by the time you got to the final buzzer, it's almost like you had time, Oilers players would have had time
Yeah.
to mourn the loss of that game before the final buzzer went. That was Florida putting teams away.
What did you think?
Clinical.
They pulled the goalie with, 6.5
I
minutes to
thought it
go?
was way too early. way too early.
Me too.
You got McDavid and Draisaitl.
Me too.
Let them get to at least 5, see if they can get one, start thinking
Draw
about
a
it.
penalty, for God's
Yeah.
sakes. Get a power play
it's
goal
way
at
too early.
3-1.
And I'm an early goalie pull guy. I like early goalie
I didn't
pulls.
mind it, but I was
Florida's good.
I was shocked when I saw Sam Bennett fire one in, and I looked up, and it was like 6.5 minutes.
Yeah, that was weird.
6:40 something.
Yeah.
Listen, I like the aggressive goalie pull, but 3 goals when you got 2 of the best guys on earth.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, I'm going to go back to yesterday's question, right? Now knowing the outcome. What is a bigger story right now? What do you feel like talking about the Florida Panthers and how great they are? Or do we talk about Edmonton Oilers and how disappointing this thing is? Like, I mean, we're in Canada. At the end of the day, okay, Florida, you're great, blah, 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 blah. But we live in Canada.
No, but Kip's right.
We live in Canada. That's the story.
Leads, baby.
Well,
the story's Edmonton.
But I feel like we owe Florida this, and they, what a forecheck, and Bob's so solid,
Whoa,
and Reinhart,
what a
clutch,
third line.
Listen, everyone knows now. We're 3 years into them doing this. We know that team is cream of the crop. They are the tops in the NHL and have been for years now. So there's not much else to add. So let's talk about
There isn't.
So let's talk about the Oilers. Anything last night change anything for you about how we talked about them, how you felt about them?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Really? What for you, Sam? What did it change?
Well, I know, I don't want to drive this into Leafland here, but I could tell you that if we came in here after 2 games where the Oilers had an unbelievable comeback in Game 4 to even up the series, and everybody felt like, oh my God, that's the turning point of the series. It's going back to Edmonton. They're going to win this cup. And they go back there, and I know Florida's good, and I know they rolled them, but they laid an egg there.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go down to Florida, and they rolled over, quite frank. They had a good 5 minutes to start that game, I thought. They didn't get one to go.
A couple hits.
If it was Toronto, all we would be talking about is how big of a choke job it was and how, no good these guys are. McDavid, was he -4 last night? The energy that everyone just praising the Panthers, and I get it, they're great. But there was a lot that happened with the Oilers that was no good after they came back in that series. They should have lost that series in 5 if it wasn't for that miracle comeback. I know they're in the final, and it's not, you can't compare that to the Leafs or whatever. Maybe I'm too fired up about it.
No, I'm with you in terms of the disappointment that I bought into, that this is a better team, a deeper team, a team that can certainly compete. I was anticipating one of the more memorable Stanley Cup finals in recent history. Didn't get it at all.
Well, after a couple OT games, everyone was like, I think 3 of the first 4 games into OT, and everyone was
the first
this
2 games,
close series.
The first 2 games were unbelievable.
But I will say,
They were unbelievable, but there were games that Florida could have easily won as well.
Here's my point.
So I'm sitting there going, sweep.
Well, it
could have been a sweep.
It was a 6-game series.
Yeah.
3 of the first 4 in overtime, which both sounds close. Edmonton had the lead in the series for 8% of the series.
8%.
Florida set the NHL record, leading for 255 minutes, which was over 61% of the series. They were in control of every game at some point.
The history that I thought they were going to make that didn't make turned into maybe the history of the most lopsided 6-game series I've ever seen.
Wasn't that close?
Yeah.
They didn't win 1 game in regulation.
Yeah.
I don't think Connor or
They couldn't
Leon
beat them
scored
over
in
60
regulation.
minutes in 1 game.
Maybe Connor had the one. Yeah, Connor had 1 regulation. And
Goal.
Leon, yeah. Yeah, no, I
When the game was over.
When it was 3-zip
Yeah.
in Game 5.
Leon
right?
had 2 OT winners. But
which-
yeah,
that's pretty good.
but I mean, I think a lot of what we're going to talk about with the Oilers when it comes to picking apart their roster, which you do with every team that comes a little bit short, is they didn't look much closer than any other team was to beating that Florida team, whether it's Tampa Bay, Toronto. Who else did they
Carolina.
beat? Carolina. Yeah, Carolina didn't have a sniff
Yeah,
either.
no.
That team was just better than everyone.
Yeah.
But
It does make you if Edmonton had played any of those other teams, would they have beat them? They're more.
what we saw a lot of throughout the playoffs, especially in Los Angeles and giving up the first 2 goals, is that they started winning games without depending on 97 and 29.
Right, they got help.
Right?
Yeah.
They got help.
Mhm.
And it was on the premise that was going to continue in the final. And it just didn't. They all came back down to earth, including Kapanen and whether it's Arvidsson in the lineup or out.
Connor Brown.
Let's be real.
Connor
too.
Brown.
Basically, Hyman's devastated.
Henrique.
Yeah.
Henrique.
Kane.
They all just fell off
Yeah.
in the final
and
series.
And today you wake up and it's like, okay, they're going to trade Evander Kane. You know, if Elliott reported that there'll be a market for him. That's the first one to fall. Klingberg's probably not going to come back.
Well, somebody will overpay Klingberg.
Yeah,
right?
he did enough to earn another shot somewhere. No, go
I
ahead.
was just going to say, did you want to hear from McDavid after the game? I mean, I poured through the 2-minute, 53-second.
Yeah, I think we need to hear him.
Yeah, we do. It's definitely a good clip. Connor McDavid, clip 1 on the series, please, Derek.
I lost to a really good team. Nobody quit. Nobody threw the towel in. They're a heck of a team. You know, they're the Stanley Cup champions back-to-back for a reason.
What's the difference in the series?
I mean, obviously their forecheck was great. They tilted the rink. They were able to kind of stay on top of us all over the place. Never really able to generate any momentum up the ice. You know, we kept trying the same thing over and over again, just banging our heads against the wall. So, credit to them. They played well.
Is that a criticism?
Is that a shot at the coach?
Yeah. I mean, it's a frustration that's probably valid. I think we watched a lot of teams against Florida.
What does he mean there, fellas?
To me, it's everyone kept going up the walls. Florida pinches hard down the walls.
Means we didn't make the proper adjustments.
Gregor before the series was like, should they flip their wingers and then have them on their offhand to get the puck to the middle? I didn't see him do anything. They just kept throwing the guys over the boards. And
when you think about Connor screaming and ranting in his viral moment last year, and then you hear him this year, it's as
they
if
feel farther away.
It's as if to me he truly understands that we are possibly a worse team than we were last year.
Mm-hmm.
Well, don't you think? I mean, they're both cripplingly heartbreaking, but I think last year having the momentum of coming back from 3-0 down and it having to be a really close Game 7 that was on a knife's edge, and he had the puck at the top of the blue paint with a chance to score to make it 2-2. Like that one was
supposed to kick in and build this year.
Yes, correct. And then
and it didn't.
But they added Jeff Skinner and Victor Arvidsson, lost guys to RFA offer sheets, and they didn't get better.
No.
They didn't improve enough.
Arvidsson's still under another year, is he not?
Yeah, but they healthy scratched him in playoffs, and he's got $4 million
$4 million
cap hit next year.
And Connor Brown has, I think,
Brown's a UFA.
No, I know that, but he had $4 million this year on the cap, did he not?
Oh, that sounds
Three?
possible.
$3 million?
Yeah.
I think it was like a
I'll find it for you.
So between Brown and Arvidsson, it's like that was a ton of money to be.
It says just $1 million on.
No,
but there's
but three.
overages from the year before.
There's three. I think. I think there was cash or something there, but my point is that like you cannot have a mistake of healthy scratching a $4 million player.
No.
You know, and Brown and Arvidsson should have been looked upon as being similar players. I don't know where you needed Arvidsson.
And Barney, you did mention it sort of quietly there when we were talking about other stuff, but no, Zach Hyman was a massive blow.
Yeah.
Like, and it deserves a little bit of a conversation that, like,
No question.
He's one of their
scored
no
70
question.
He's their
times.
one of their go-to guys outside of Connor and Leon.
I don't see him being the difference between winning and losing in
No,
the
they
Stanley
didn't
Cup.
feel one guy away, but at least it
Yeah.
definitely would have changed.
It just slots people in
I agree with
differently,
that.
and
Yeah.
like they could have maybe, I don't know, won one more game. Is he worth that? I'm not sure, but that is a big miss.
But I do think it's worth noting that this Florida team, the damage they did to teams when it came time to put them away, like winning both these games by 3 goals, what they did to the Leafs in games 5 and 7, you know, what they did to Carolina, they locked it down really tight. And here's one thing, they talked about intangibles and trust and all this team chemistry and leadership, all the stuff that hockey people hold dear seems to exist on that Panthers roster.
The thing that stands out for me the most is, there's a couple of clips out there of Paul Maurice behind the bench screaming, pound these guys. And then there's the words of Matthew Tkachuk, who says that whether or not, we need to go back up to Toronto in Game 7 or even take it to overtime, we know when we constantly play this way, it will turn in our favor. So when they get into those critical moments, there's an expectation of, number one, being calm, and number two, that we will come out on top. Yeah. And we don't need to win it in 4 games, 5 games, 6 games. We can win it in 7 if it's even overtime. And it's one thing to say it, but it's another thing to truly believe it. And that's the difference in mentality between them and every other team that's looking on the outside right now.
Remember after the Leafs lost in Game 7 and Marchand talked about how we put too much pressure on the Leafs and all this stuff. He's like, this isn't even a big game. Mm-hmm. It's like, this is the second round. He's like, guys that have been there, like, it's a big game, like, sure, but like, this isn't the final. He went on like a big, long thing, and it's like, they just rise. I don't know how you quantify their ability to rise to the occasion over these past 3 seasons.
I also think, Sam, it gets easier once you've done it. Once you've got that on your resume already, and your opponent believes it.
Yes.
It's like Prime Tiger, where guys would just like roll over for him. It's like, this guy doesn't choke.
Like we got to see on Sunday afternoon when the rain delay.
Yes, it's nice. It is like seeing where eventually your opponent starts to beat themselves because they believe you're that true to your system, and it feels like that's where opponents of the Panthers are at this point.
Can we, before we, I don't want to ask you about the coach of the Oilers, Knobloch.
We also have Panthers culture as a clip.
Yeah, I just, before we move off past that, I wanted to play this clip for you and get your guys' opinion on it. I was listening through and I was surprised by this. Could you do clip 1 on being underdogs, please? Knobloch?
Talked to earlier about being a resilient group. Like, we saw it more last year just because our backs were against the wall more often. But going this year, it was alluded earlier that we were an underdog throughout the playoffs. And for us to get to Game 6 of the Stanley Cup final, being a bunch of underdogs, it's a pretty good accomplishment. Unfortunately, it hurts just because we felt that we could have won it all. And, getting so close last year and getting so close this year, a lot had fallen into place, and it did very early in the playoffs. So I'm very, very happy about the guys. They gave a tremendous effort.
Underdogs.
Revisionist.
That's like,
you ain't first, you're last.
They were the Cup favorites.
I love
preseason.
That's like Nick Saban, like maybe he's like, Alabama, no one believes in us.
Yeah.
We're underdogs everywhere. It's like,
you were in the Cup final Game 7 last year.
Everyone
believed in you.
Were they favored in, like, we did Game Time all the time. They were favored in a lot of games.
Yeah. That's a coach being like, we did pretty good, actually.
Like, that's exactly what that comes across.
Board going around for Sportsnet picks.
Yes.
It was all Oilers.
Yeah. 100%.
Except for Nick Kypreos, who picked the stinking Panthers. God. Oh, you picked the defending Stanley Cup champion.
Yeah, so my 8-year-old son, right? He was like, like the team that just won, probably.
I've never really retweeted anything, but I did retweet one person last night who saw my pick the moment it came out on Sportsnet and said, is in regards if your pick wins one round, I'll buy you pizza and send it to Walmart where you'll be working.
Is that why you wore a blue shirt today?
Walmart has a Pizza Hut in it.
The moment the game ended, I sent him a tweet back with an emoji of a pizza slice.
I love it.
And that was it.
Yeah,
that's funny.
He was a good sport about it, though.
But what do you make of him saying that? Is that what it is? Like, we actually did great, and like I shouldn't be questioned at all. Like,
it reminds me of, we got a lot of respect in the handshake line.
Yeah, it's very eerily similar to me.
I don't know. I mean, it's clearly a defense mechanism that kind of kicks in, but it's
I think they deserve credit for a great playoff.
It's not reality to sit there and go that we never believed that they could truly beat the Florida Panthers. Come on.
Mean, every team they played could have beat them. LA was good. Vegas was good. Dallas was good. They had a great playoff.
They didn't sneak into a final here. They went through the front door.
Yeah, they steamrolled the Western Conference.
Yeah.
Right? No questions asked.
Yeah.
Who's the best team in the Western Conference? Edmonton Oilers.
Yeah, but they weren't underdogs.
And I think statistically when we did Game Time, they were like, it was like minus 115 to minus 105. Like it was a pick-em series in the finals.
Yeah.
But anyways.
Can they get back there again? The Oilers?
How do you see them possibly being better? How do they get better? So they need a goalie, right? The Skinner thing did not work. That, by the way, that killed them last night.
You can't let in the first goal.
No, Reinhart goes forehand, forehand, and chops it over his glove. He's not within a foot of touching it. The one, Reinhart's second goal, where he just blockers it lazily in front of him.
This is such a sweet goal.
Falling down, too.
But, like, he can't go many places there. Like, that one's so...
And you know what's even worse is that he's so upright on it. You know, he doesn't get back down and ready off the rebound.
Right.
He doesn't get back in position. Okay. He stays up like lazily.
Yeah. No, you know what? I was texting with Steve Valiquette during the game last night, and we didn't get to have him. He was in Italy.
And he was texting you?
Yeah, he was eating a burrata while
texting. What the hell?
He's in the villa.
So he's watching, but he won't come on? What the hell?
But he
I
was
had to put in a call.
I'm going to ask him this story, but I said something about how the Skinner blocker play, didn't love it. And he said anything they shot on him at this point, he would have made a mess of it. Like he said, you just get to a point where you're brain fried. He told me this story about it happening to him, and we'll get it from him. But Skinner was just mentally
gone,
rolled over at that point. You know, he just had nothing left to give.
You saw him skating off the ice after the first period, and he's just hanging his head. And I mean, like, if you're one of the guys on the bench, you're like, gee, we're done. Yeah. We're done.
Wasn't inspiring.
Well, their first priority is to make sure 97 signs July 1st. Is it not?
Well, I don't think, Kip, it's going to be July 1st. I don't think there's urgency on that.
Well,
for sure for Edmonton.
Let it not be July 1st.
It won't be July 1st.
Great.
Right?
I see nothing but a constant distraction.
Yeah.
July 2nd.
I get in trouble for saying this. It feels to me that Canadian players are less likely to do that. Like, I feel like there's this loyalty. He's in Canada. He's a Canadian kid. Like, I feel like it's going to be less likely that he says, I can't take this. I want to go somewhere else. Like,
yeah, McKinnon did it. Sid did it. Like, it's just like that kind of guy.
Yeah.
Just kind of just does it.
Just, and you think about like, all right, Kachuk did it. Feels like Quinn Hughes is doing it. Feels like Jack Eichel did it.
Yeah.
It feels, I don't know, like why I feel like it's like a Canadian hockey player. It's like,
I can't get a read on it.
Yeah.
I can't. I'm only telling you, I'd be guessing to say that he wants to stay or wants to go.
Yeah. I mean, in reading some of the Oilers blogs today, I don't want to say it's a foregone conclusion that he's re-signing, but there's a lot of good points of why he wants to win. They're a team that can get to the final, and as they're presently constructed, are very, very good. Leon re-signed.
I don't know how good they are, JB. I really don't know how good they are. They're
good teams in the
I know
playoffs.
they did. I know, but they could have as many as 6 new players. And are they going to be better, worse? They don't have a goalie. Hyman comes back, of course, which is huge.
By the way, would you keep Skinner as a backup? He only makes 2.5, and he's played Stanley Cup Finals games. And
it's a really tough ask for the fans or even for him to go back and say, you know what? I'm sorry that you guys wasted 2 years on me, but I'm going to be a backup goalie now. And that's where I'm really comfortable. It's really tough. Yeah. It's tough. Everybody,
I would love Skinner as a backup on my team, but on the team where you've been burned twice, it's really hard to look at that.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
I think you just
in 3 or 4 years from now, we could be looking at these 2 losses and saying that's the closest they ever got.
And you know what? Pickard,
that's the danger of Connor still.
That's what would terrify
re-upping is that your window may have closed temporarily, and you might need 4 or 5 years to get back.
And also, Pickard goaltended just as well as he did, and he only makes $1 million next year. You might as well just, even though he's older, you might as well just say, "Hey, you do it for $1 million, and we'll save 1.6." And
They're going to have to make. There's some talk about a Frederick contract extension out there. Did Elliott put something out today?
Yeah, he
Or
said
did he
that
say something?
They're working on an 8-year deal or
8-year
something. Is
deal.
that-
Yeah, I
is
think he
that
said
right?
that with
You heard?
fan hockey show guys. but-
I don't know why you
Years
need
they-
to go 8 years.
Don't really understand that either. Listen, I'm not comparing these two, but it reminds me of Engvall, where it's like, who are you bidding against to say 8?
Played 80 games this year and he scored 9 goals.
I mean, I like Frederick, and to be honest, if they wanted to give him 2 a year for 8 years, I'd take him on my team too. But
I doubt that's what it's going to be.
The other
not gonna
one,
be 2.
the other one that's concerning here is a lot of talk about Evan Bouchard commanding as much as $10 or $11 million. And
How could he not?
I like Bouchard, but I just don't know if I can win a Stanley Cup with him. I'll be honest.
Absolutely, you can. Absolutely. I think if you look at that decor, I would rather give Bouchard the $10 million and then find a way to trade like Nurse or something like that. Like, move Kane, free the money up
For
Bouchard.
sure. For sure, you can win with Bouchard, but you can't do it. Him being like the absolute go-to guy on the blue line.
Yeah.
That he just doesn't
Ekholm
play.
let them down a bit, I thought.
Well, Ekholm was also out for a very long
He didn't
time.
look like himself.
I mean,
He's
long
35
time.
too, Kip. He's
I know.
He got walked multiple times in big spots
Yes.
where he didn't look very mobile and he didn't look like he was at his best at all. So
So
maybe
if there are signs of Ekholm now declining,
35.
like take a look at that blue line for Connor in the next 3 or 4 years.
like
it is,
Wallman.
it is absolute paramount that you have to change it up somewhat. And I like your thought of getting Nurse's $9 million out, but you're going to have to find a stud shutdown guy that can complement the boo-boos every once in a while from Evan Bouchard.
Yeah, and in fairness, he cleaned those up pretty good in playoffs. I don't know.
Last few games,
Yeah.
they were back.
Yeah.
They were back.
But, they like Wallman's 29, and he's good for them. Kulak is 31, and he was pretty good for them. And then it's Emberson, Stetcher. This decor surprised me the whole way around. They were the top point per game decor in the Stanley Cup playoffs. And every time I look at that decor, I'm like, okay, I guess.
And then the Florida Panthers just ground him to dust
Yeah.
with that forecheck. It's just like they can't.
Forsling. Where did he come from?
Yeah.
Waivers to shutting down like Connor McDavid.
Dmitry Filipovich, who does some work with Sportsnet, I think he has a podcast with us. He put out an 8-minute mixtape of his defensive prowess. It's absurd.
Yeah.
He is as shut down as it absolutely gets. And to get him off waivers, I love watching him play.
Better than getting him off waivers. He's 29, and he makes 5.75 until the year 2032.
Think about that. Think about if he was going to become a UFA.
Get 12.
12.
Like maybe not 12.
11.
9, 11,
But no,
9, 10,
but like
11.
he'd be in the same conversation as like a Pesci.
Yeah.
Oh,
10.
not Pesci. I'm thinking
Slavin.
of Slavin.
Slavin,
Thank
yeah.
you. Wrong guy.
Yeah.
Slavin.
Slavin, right? But I don't know.
One thing I was thinking the other day is the money we spend on these players, the league spends on players, is so not correlated with how much they're valued. You look at Team Canada just named like a Sidney Crosby or whatever, but Sid makes 8.7 and
Yeah.
Sam Reinhart makes 8 and
Yeah.
8.6 and you value Forsling so much, but because he doesn't have the points, they're not going to give him that kind of money, Bouchard money. It's like, who would you rather have in this
It's more
series?
than that. It's just it's a timing thing. It is all about your timing. It's about when you peak, when you can sell yourself at the highest. And now Bennett couldn't have timed it any better, right?
Yeah.
But Forsland was offered security the rest of his life.
He was.
Waiver
And-
claim, just like who
Right,
got
and
caught
it's,
on.
you don't forget where you came from,
Mhm.
so you don't want to look a gift horse in the mouth.
Mhm.
And he gladly took a long-term deal last year. When did he do it?
He
Right?
signed it in
Beginning of last year, maybe.
March 7th, 2024.
Okay.
Yes.
And it's like, good enough for me.
Yeah, and it's
And
great.
of course he knows it was a
Florida money. They're a good team.
it's a mistake, hindsight. But
It's a mistake by 50%.
but it's a mistake that but it's
like literally could make double the money.
But it's also a mistake that could make him a 3-time Stanley Cup champion or a 4-time Stanley Cup champion.
Yeah, you do that in Toronto, that's worth a lot of money. Do that in Florida, you get cheap
Right.
beers at the elbow
Where's
room, apparently.
Nico Mikkola? Where's he? He got one more year.
Yeah.
That guy can.
You love Nico.
Me too. I was on this guy.
I'm a
Nico?
Nico fan.
You love this guy.
He's got one year left at
Yes.
2.5.
Yeah, that one's gonna. And how old is
You're
he?
getting Kulikov at 1.15. Mikola's 29. He's also 6'6".
And they got Seth Jones, who's just how old now? And
Well,
like,
Seth Jones has just found it. $7 million they're going to pay him after the retention. He's going to be till 2030.
they could be a 3-time in a row.
What do you think Ekblad does?
Leafs.
So he's the one that I think if anyone leaves. However,
No,
Bart Marchand.
Marchand. We'll leave.
I think he's kind of an essential piece of their DNA, Ekblad, because he's like this. He's this nasty back end defender who has a 57-point season on his resume. He scored some big goals in this playoff run.
Yep.
Against Tampa Bay, he scored a really big goal.
How old is he?
He's only 29. Is that right, Justin? Yes, he's only 29.
Oh, he could
He's
be.
only
Yeah,
29.
he could be looking at a 7-year deal.
For
somebody
sure.
else.
I'd give it to him in a heartbeat.
Would you give him? Would you get him 8 times 7?
Yes.
yeah,
For sure I would.
Okay.
And then you find a way to move Morgan Riley, and you have him instead of Morgan Riley.
I have a theory that defensemen with pedigree, high draft pick D-man,
Yeah.
who people thought were going to be a player,
Yeah.
are better longer. Like, you're
Yeah.
going to get good 30s out of these guys. And Ekblad is a little more injury prone, so that makes me a little hesitant saying that with him. But 6'4", 215, good offensive sense, nasty,
Do you guys want to
no-brainer.
Do you guys want to do game time, and then on the other side of the break, get in some clips?
Sure.
Because I had some really good clips. We haven't mentioned the guy who scored 4 goals in the game, so that was pretty cool.
Gotta go, Sam.
It's game time. Presented by Bet365. Visit the app for latest odds and find out why it's ever ordinary at Bet365. Must be 19 plus. Ontario only. Please play responsibly. So I quickly went on to Bet365 while you guys are talking to check out the Stanley Cup favorites for 25-26.
It better be Florida.
Who do you think?
Everybody's jumping on my bandwagon.
Who do you
right
think the
now.
Florida? Who do you think the favorite is?
Florida.
No,
Edmonton?
no. Well,
Colorado?
Edmonton's tied
Colorado,
with this
Dallas,
favorite.
Vegas.
No, Carolina.
Oh, wow.
Stop it.
If they get a
Stop
single
it.
bet on that, I would be floored.
Stop it.
What?
What is it? What's the payout?
It's 7-1.
All right, I need people who bet on hockey stuff to listen to me, and the books need to not listen for a sec. Hold on.
Okay.
Right before, you'll get the same odds before the Stanley Cup playoffs you're going to get now. You can get a whole bunch of information on teams before you place that bet. Unless you're betting a long shot today
Yeah.
because you think someone's going to sign there, don't bet it.
So, can I say something that made me very worried about this? As I looked down the list to see where the Toronto Maple Leafs were,
Top 10, not even.
they're 20-1. Like there's
That's the longest they've been on.
the Panthers, the Stars, the Golden Knights, the Lightning, the Devils, the Kings, all ahead of them. And I didn't love that.
Who do you disagree with? The Devils, maybe?
Yeah. Anyways, I thought I would bring that up because I think it's hilarious that the Carolina Hurricanes are favored.
Where are the Oilers in that?
Are they?
They're tied,
do
7-1.
Do they
7-1?
maybe?
Okay.
Are they
Sorry.
pricing in Marner signing in Carolina? Is that what that is?
Maybe. What do they know?
Usually more than us.
And tonight, down at Rogers Center, the Toronto Blue Jays will look to win the series against the Arizona Diamondbacks. Eric Lauer on the mound for the Toronto Blue Jays. It is a pick-em -110 on both sides. Blue Jays with an unbelievable win last night. You'll hear all about it right after us with Blair and Barker.
Another killer bees. Right
Yeah,
there.
but
Blair and
man,
Barker on
Bo
Barger
Bichette and then
Bichette.
Barger,
bombs.
sickest arms in the league. So Jays are getting hot against these kind of crappy
Got that
teams at home.
bicep.
And yeah, wow, those are pretty sick. Those are pretty sick
Come on
arms.
over
too.
and swing on the monkey bars.
I've seen bigger arms on a snake than over here. Anyways, that was Game Time presented by Bet365. Visit the app for latest odds and find out why it's ever ordinary at Bet365. Must be 19 plus. Ontario only. Please play responsibly.
All right, it's never too early after a Stanley Cup has been dished out to talk about
it looks so
pending
good. What a beautiful
free agents.
Yes, we are. And by the way, I just want to say I love that Barkov did like the European soccer, bring
This
it
is
low to
awesome.
the boys.
Awesome.
That's a really great.
And look at them all. They're so happy. And I hate these guys, and I'm so happy for them.
Hey, how about passing it around first to the guys that haven't won it yet?
That was a real team move too.
Come on.
The fans are like, "Hooray!" Guy, I
You
don't know.
can't hate this team.
Yeah,
I do.
Like Marchand,
No, you
Bobrovsky,
cannot.
those guys didn't touch it for
You're looking
10,
at
11
it.
You're
guys.
jealous, but you don't hate them.
Cripplingly jealous. Duh.
That's what this is.
Free agent talk next when we return to Real Kyper and Bourne. Welcome back to the show. Nick Kypreos, Justin Bourne, Sammy McKee. As a reminder, this hour of Real Kyper and Bourne brought to you by Bet365. Sam Reinhart,
Stud.
4 goals last night. I don't know, when was the last time that happened? Like
I got
18,
Good
12?
stat here. Sam Reinhart became the second player in NHL history with 4 goals in a Stanley Cup clinching win, following Babe Dye, 1922 with the Toronto St. Patrick's.
You know, not enough dudes getting named Babe anymore.
Overall, he is the 4th player in NHL history with 3+ goals to clinch a cup. Mark Stone in 2023, Dye, and Jack Dara with the 1920 Ottawa Senators.
That's a pretty good old-timey
Thank you.
voice.
Thank you.
So he was taking a little heat, for him and Barkov a little bit for not scoring in these playoffs. But when
Yeah.
you're so well balanced, it's like
It's a lot
they
easier
don't
to
have a 1,
survive.
2, and 3 line. They got like a 1A, 1B, and 1C line.
You know, I will say those 4 goals really changed the way his playoff numbers looked this year. Because, without that, he only had 7 goals in 21 games.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, it's 11. It's like,
See,
okay,
the one
4
thing,
goals in a Stanley Cup clinching
see,
game.
and he's a Selke candidate, isn't he?
second place.
Second place. All right. And he's
Actually
constantly
close.
there with Barkov.
Yeah.
He did go from 57 goals to 39. But when I watch him, he always plays the same way. For goal scorer, and Draisaitl has this a little bit too, and I saw it in the finals, that there's an element when you're expected to score that you got to get your cookies. You got to even cheat when you have to, blow the zone. You know how I feel about all that stuff. And there are times when I watch Draisaitl in these finals where he's pressing and there's an element to he's the one guy that I can watch and know for sure he ain't cheating.
No.
So if
And that's why Team Canada loves him.
and if he goes from 57 to 39 goals, he doesn't
Great year.
care.
40 goals,
Whereas
great year.
some goal scorers would go, oh my God, that's a horrific. I can't stomach the thought of me only scoring 39 goals after I know I'm a 50 or 60 goal scorer.
I gotta tell you though, watching that highlight pack, and of course we do think about the Leafs here often. Watching Barkov, Skinner, it's 2-1, 2-0. Skinner blockers that one to him. Barkov walks into it. It's like Clapper City. He can step into it, and he's just got the poise and vision. Just be like, if you look when he's getting the puck, Reinhardt's not open. He's coming around a guy, and he sees it developing, makes a little backdoor play.
A lot like he did with Verhaeghe against Carolina, when he
Yes.
passed it to a play that wasn't there yet.
Wasn't there yet. And it's just like, their offensive guys aren't one-dimensional. They can pass it, they can shoot it. What a play.
Let's play the clip from Maurice number 2, Derek, on Barkov and Reinhart.
I think Barkov got better. I don't want to go through the injury list, but in game 1, Sash just split his hand, the palm of his hand for 13. And he had those sutures torn out twice till he just glued it together. So that had something to do with his point production. Sam Reinhart had a grade 2 MCL in the Carolina series and took some days off. It took him a few games to get back to health. I think they were both just healthy. But if you're Sam Reinhart, how good's your story? Scored a game winner in Game 7 in overtime last year, and you bang in 4. Nobody's going to say whether it's their goalie in that. Nobody's going to care. He just scored 4 goals. Well, that's a pretty good story.
I like that clip.
Barkov had
It's so
22
true,
points in 23
4
games.
goals.
Doesn't matter.
How many were in
Who
where there's a
cares?
goal? Nobody's going to ask.
I got 4, bud. They went in.
4.
4 across the line in the Stanley Cup clinching game.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Barkov was a point per game guy.
Hey,
Pretty good.
They could end up with 6 Hall of Famers on this team.
That's what I was going to ask you guys.
6.
Gunner texted me last night and asked me how many Stanley
6.
Cup. 6?
Well,
6.
you're talking Marchand's in there, obviously.
Yes.
Right?
Marchand,
Yeah.
Reinhart,
Barkov.
Markov, Bobrovsky,
Kachuk.
Kachuk?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Kachuk.
Yeah,
Two-time
Kachuk's
Stanley
heading.
Cup champion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll tell you
Are
another
you
guy
going to say
that can.
Forsling?
No. I will throw out Carter Verhaeghe.
Whoa.
Yeah, I will. And longevity
playoff.
longevity will have to be a key for him. But another Stanley Cup, and he gets his playoff numbers up. And guys, I'm telling you, for me, I appreciate the conversation on other players, if they're Hall of Famers or not. And, because we cover the Toronto Maple Leafs, and Tavares's numbers, his regular season numbers are Hall of Fame worthy, but he's never played a big game in the playoffs in his career.
If he were to ever, let's say, played eight more years, his
What's that?
You need to. Well, he's only played
sorry.
400 NHL games.
I just had a physical reaction to somebody sent us a picture of Barkov's hand.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Someone tweeted it to us. It's very gross. Sorry.
That to me is Hall of Fame, is playing big in big games.
He's played 6 seasons in the NHL so far. Carter Verhaeghe, at 29 years old, has 3 Stanley Cups.
3 Stanley Cups.
I didn't
Think
realize
about
he
that.
played 8 games for that Tampa team.
Yeah.
So
Right.
when I was with the Marlies, he was with Syracuse, and we played them in playoffs. And I remember writing his name up on the board that he's 24 at that point, and he's still not in the NHL. And going, yeah, this kid's all right. He's an effective player for them.
Play another 7, 8 years. If he wins another cup or 2, he's got no problem looking big. He plays hard too. Like he plays
He's clutch.
so hard on the forecheck. He's a guy that could get in there one day.
If everything went right.
If everything went right one day.
Great
Ekblad?
career.
Maybe.
Why?
I don't know.
Why? I mean, why can't
It all
he?
depends how long this Panthers run goes on for. Are they going to be the 80s Islanders?
If you can build cups and get your games played into the 150 mark of playoff games, and you're a 20-minute guy, just don't look at goals and assists, boys.
It's funny. Reinhart and
That's
Kachuk
fair.
and Verhaeghe all finished with 23 points, which is 10 points behind the Leon and Connor, who both had 33. So first place was 33 points with the 2 Oilers guys. 10 points later are the steady Reinhart, Kachuk, Verhaeghe, Bennett at 22. So they had 4 guys all just sniffing right underneath there.
Sam Bennett,
Barkov 22, Marchand
Sam
20.
Bennett.
Wow.
Conn Smythe. How about this stat? Became the second player in NHL history to score 15-plus goals in a postseason without any 30-goal regular seasons on his resume to that point. First in more than a century. Newsy Lalonde, 17 in 1919 with the Montreal Canadiens.
Is it actually Newsy Lalonde?
Yes.
Oh, that's
Kinda
the joke name
kinda
you
is.
usually use.
No, it is
Kinda
Newsy Lalonde.
So if you had Sam Bennett before the playoffs for Conn Smythe
Oh, my God.
for $20,
You'd be rich.
I actually saw
You're buying a new
someone
driver.
that bet $37 or something on it and won over $4,000.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, it was.
that's a nice payday.
Sweet.
It was a long shot, but there he is.
So you see the elbow room this morning, Kip?
No,
They're all drunk.
they're
and-
still there.
Well, they were drunk.
Are
this
they
morning.
watching? Congratulations, guys.
Yeah.
I picked you.
I'll flip another finger for you guys. You guys can flip those ones. They were chanting 8 more years, 8 more years. Everybody's chanting 8 more years.
At
the whole
who?
time. At Sam Bennett. And Sam Bennett's taking part going 8 more years, 8 more years.
Yeah, Kyle Lowry did that too, didn't he? Or no, Kawhi.
Kawhi did.
That's what I
Kawhi
was
did.
thinking of.
Kawhi.
Yeah.
You see any scenario where he doesn't end up re-signing there?
Zilch. Zero scenario.
Here's what I was thinking this morning. It's like there are all these myriad reasons why people make the choices they make about where they want to sign. What doesn't Florida offer him? What's not there? What can't he get there that he could get somewhere else?
Money?
If it were only about money, is the only answer.
That's it.
If they want to give him 8x8 or something, and someone else wants to give him 7x10,
8x8's better than 7x10. Money.
What?
Depending on the market. It's better than Toronto's 10.
yeah, I suppose.
Eight in Florida is better than Toronto's 10.
Yeah,
So
I
it's
got
not money.
some quibbles with how we
not
pass
money.
over some of that stuff without doing the actual. John Tavares won his case the other day, which he only had to pay 15% on his signing bonus instead of 50. That helps Canadian athletes, and I think it helps the appeal.
Good.
Good for him.
Yeah.
He won something.
It's not about him. It's about in Canada
The
our
perception.
teams. No, I mean perception. In the reality that if you sign with the Blue Jays or the Raptors or whoever,
Yeah, there's ways to get around things.
Right,
There's an RCA they call where
I
you
think
could
that's what his thing was.
where you
right?
could put money away and
Until you leave.
reclaim it after your tax bracket goes down.
There are ways anyway. So anyway, the point is, I don't know if
Yeah.
it's as clear necessarily.
So they're 3 big name free agents now. Sam Bennett, I think we all agree stays.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Marchand, we
Gone.
all agree go.
Yes. They can't afford him.
And Ekblad, we all agree stay or go.
I think he stays. You're not as sure? I think Florida's going to have some say.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure they want to offer him 8 years.
Because of injury?
Yeah, I think he's been beat up a little bit too. I'm not sure if they're there. Maybe he doesn't want all 8 years. I don't know, but I think he's very comfortable there.
God, he really lifted that cup up great last night. He really got it
So
up there
strong.
fast. He's very
56
strong.
games this year, 51 the year
he's a
before,
bit of a Band-Aid.
71, 61, 35, 67. He hasn't played 82 games.
No. He's always been a bit of a
But in playoffs, 19, 24, 20, he's playing.
playoff performer.
Oh, huge. He had that big rest too. That's a
It doesn't hurt.
really good call, taking
Yeah,
30 games
which,
off.
Which didn't count against their cap.
Was it 20 or 30?
20.
And it was the funniest thing after he said he's like the healthiest he's ever been or something like that. It was like,
Yeah, I bet.
miracle.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
I bet he was.
Do you want to hear
Yeah.
Bennett on Brad Marchand? Is that anything?
Uh,
What do you like, Sam? You
I
listen
like.
to all these.
I did listen to them all. I really like Bennett on the Panthers culture. I know it's going to make me sick, but it's a really good clip. Clip 1 on the Panthers culture from Bennett, please.
I mean, it starts with the culture here. There's a way that we do things here, and it's not easy. We don't play an easy style of hockey. It demands a lot out of you, but I think every single guy's bought into it. But once the new guys come in, they instantly bought into this, what we do here, and the commitment to being great, to winning. Every single guy just really bought into that, and I mean it starts with the culture, but the character of the guys. I think that's why we're able to do this.
Okay, he's wrong. It doesn't start with a culture. It starts with a man who sets the culture. I give a ton of credit to Bill Zito.
How could
Yeah.
you not?
I mean, he's done an unbelievable job.
Seth Jones was.
He's-
an
I mean,
He
unbelievable
built a
keeper.
management team, guys.
Yeah, he's definitely playing with a different set of rules than everybody else, but he's doing a good job with them.
Oh my
Doing
God.
the best he can.
Yeah. He is. I mean, it's 6 straight finals for a Florida team, including 4 wins.
They've been very
There's
good.
something there. But
Anybody could be successful then there, eh?
definitely,
Anybody.
he's done a great job. No question. No question. Unbelievable job with some advantages. But I think you kind of think of going into this offseason, I think culture is always like a buzzword and like trying to build
Can't
it.
go sign a guy and fix your own. I know that.
But that's now, I feel like that's going to be a huge, everyone's looking for the culture. It's like you're looking for, you just can never replicate this mix of guys.
No.
It's just the most perfect mix of guys. And they're an all-time team now. 3 straight finals, 2 cup wins. Like they are a modern day dynasty.
Of the last 17 Stanley Cups that have been won, 5 teams have won 12 of them. So it's 3 for Pittsburgh, 3 for Chicago,
Yeah.
2 for LA,
Yeah.
2 for Tampa, 2 for Florida.
Like,
Only 5 teams
hey,
are one and
It's
one and
it's
done.
hard. It's hard.
Wow.
It's hard to get your name on a Stanley Cup.
Oh, these guys are hogging
Okay.
it.
Yeah.
It's typically that's the way it's gone all throughout
and
the history.
parity, by the way, is a very real thing. But the best teams, they're winning pretty consistently.
Yeah. That's it?
That's it.
Wow.
That's
Good job,
it.
boys.
Our thanks to nobody.
Us.
It's just us.
Yeah.
We thank the
Panthers
three of
to the
us.
Oilers.
Congratulations to the Florida Panthers.
Oh,
We're
sure.
not going anywhere anytime soon. We're going to take this show right to the end of the month, and then we go first week
To July.
in July. So plenty more on the Real Kipper and Bourne
real
Show.
quick.
Shout out Jonah Gadjevich, onside attack legend, for winning the Stanley Cup last night.
way to
Attaboy.
go.
We're back again tomorrow on the Real Kipper and Bourne Show. Have a great night, everybody.